Hi, in this video I'm gonna talk about how we can use the hatch embroidery to do the basic manual digitizing. So in today I'm using the hatch 3 and I'm using the digitizer um, for this purpose, and for this purpose I'm using this flower from the open clip art. So I download it and I'm gonna digitize that. Uh, so what I'm going to do today is just going over the very basics of digitizing. Before starting, let me just very quickly go over the interface. So when you open that, the Hatch software, you have this space that is basically you can browse through the either the design you have or the design came with the Hatch software, and then here you can select the other part of the Hatch software. So for the customizing or editing the design or digitizing these part here that you have. These up menus here, the changes depend on what we want to do. So when we go to the digitizing or editing part, this part will change. So here, if I go to artwork, so that's the part that first we want to bring an image in, and then we start to work on that. So you see this part of the GUI is changing. These two, I'm gonna, you might or might not have these open, so I'm gonna close them and show you how to open them. One of them is the object properties, and the other one is the sequence properties. So sometimes they're just here, so object properties, you can just click on that, it will pop up here, it goes back, or you can click it here, it will come back. And then the sequence properties, right, it was here, so you can click on that, and that sequence property will show it here, and you will see how we use them. If you don't see them, so you can open them there. So again, the other thing that we probably want to do is that go ahead and choose the hoop size that you have, so you can click on that and select whatever hoop size you have. I set it on 100 by 100 millimeter or 4 inch by 4 inch, and then so you can see what you have, and then usually it's gonna show it, or if it doesn't show, you just click on show the hoop, so it's gonna show, and then click on 100%, so you can see the hoop in here. So this is our hoop. Now that we have the hoop setting, we're going to import an image. So to import an image, so I will go there. There are two ways of doing that. We can come here, click on the artwork, and insert the artwork here, or we can just do it right here. And then it lets us to bring both the images and the vector file. So for today, I'm just bringing the images. Usually working with the vector file is simpler, but we might not have the vector file all the time. So import the images as see, so the images doesn't fit the hoop that we have. So we can either go here and change the width or height, or we can just manually drag it to make sure it's gonna fit the area that we have. So let's make it a little bit smaller, drag it here, let's make it a little bit smaller, and then here I'm just gonna put the X as 0 and the Y as 0, so it's gonna be at the center of our hoop. So now we have the image here. The hatch gives you some auto digitizing. This is not, I'm just going to show you, but it's not the part that we want to do. Most of the time that's all you need to, so you can just click on the auto digitizing and it's going to just generate it for you. And so here I can click on the true view to see how it's going to look like. So most of the time that's all we need. So you are done, but this So let me undo that, or you can press Ctrl Z. Or you can auto digitize, but you can change, choose the color. So you can click on that and go there and say, okay, I don't need that many color probably. Let's do it with 3 colors, and then you click OK. These are the color, you can change it, and the type of that you can also change it, and then click OK, and then you have it. So it's auto digitizing. Again, I'm going to undo it, or Ctrl Z. But today I'm going to show you how I'll do it manually. So the very first thing I will do, that I will go here, click on that and lock it in place. So make sure it's not going to move in the middle of what we are doing. So it's sitting there. And then we come here and click on the Digitize tab here. So it opens the Digitize tab here. Before I start that, let me just mention another thing about the color we have here. So it's just the color that opens here, so you can see there's the isochord. If you want any specific thread, so you can click on the thread here. It will open here, so you can click here and add or remove any specific thread color you want. I add the Madeira here, so you can click on here, remove it, or click here and you want to add it there. And then you can, after you do that, you can come here, click on that, so it will match all the color we are using in our drawing with the Madeira or whatever thread color you have. It will do that for you. The other things that probably you can set this any time during the design. The other thing, I think it was here, yes, is the auto fabric. So you can come here and choose what type of fabric you have. So whenever we are doing the digitizing, the hatch automatically assign the stitch length or density or any kind of properties that is suitable for the type of fabric we choose. We can select it again during or any time, and it will adjust everything as far as I know. So after we have done that, let me, before I start, is just very quickly talk about, for those of you who might be very new to digitizing, don't know what type of stitches we have. So a couple of type of stitch we usually have. So the most common one is the just the running stitch, or the line of a stitch. So to do that, we click on to have the running or any type of open stitch. We click on the Digitize open shape. Let me zoom here. I'm going to draw something and we color here. So I assume the line I want to draw it and press it. And then after I draw it, you see the object properties is open, and said, okay, what type of stitch is that? Is it single run, or for example, is it okay, let me first, I have to select it, so I select that, and then say, for example, it's the back stitch, it's the stem stitch, it's the zigzag, or any other kind of that you see is going to change here, and then you can go down there and change the properties of that stitch if you want to. Usually whatever it shows is good enough, so you don't need to change it. So this is one type of the stitch that we are using. The other one that's very common is the fill stitch. So if we come here and digitize close shape, say okay, digitize close shape, and click, and then you don't need, if I want to close it, just press enter, so it will close it for me. And then here I will click on the fill, so it's the outline and fill, so I click on the fill. Oh, sorry, I have to select it, click on the fill, and it's going to be a fill. So again, it can be this simple fill. I could have done it, let me redo it again. So I click on digitize it, I can select the fill right away, 1, 2, 3, and press enter and create the fill for me. And then if I can change it in any other type if I want. One other type of stitch that's like that is the satin stitch, satin frill, and we can do it two ways. One way is like what we did it right now, so I can go ahead and say, okay, I want to create L-shaped frill. Press enter, so it's a frill, and that this is the taton. So if I want, I can click it on the satin, and it's gonna make it a satin. Sorry, so let me select it. Click on the satin, so it's gonna make it the satin. Now, if I go ahead and click on the reshape button here, so I can come here, grab this angle, and change the angle of my satin. So it's in this case, all of my all of my satin has the same angle. If I want to have the different angles, so I can again select that and come here and add stitch angle. So I can come here and say, okay, I want these to be have an angle like that here, and then I want it to have an angle like that here, and then I want to have an angle like that here, and then press enter, and then you see I can have these type of angles. So here's the horizontal, it goes to this type of angle 45 probably, and then it's vertical. That's one way of doing the satin. The other way of doing that is that using this block, and the way it works is that you start to drawing from one edge and the opposite edge. So if I want to draw the L, it's going to one edge, the opposite edge, then one edge, then the up, then the one edge, then the up, then the one edge, opposite edge, one edge, opposite edge, and whenever I'm done, I'll finish it. In this case, if I go ahead again, escape, select that and press the reshape. So you see, if I go ahead here, it already put the angle bar there, so I can go ahead and change the or I can go ahead and change the angle anywhere during the, so I can change the shape, I can change the angle. In other words, it draw that and it add the angle when you draw it, the angle bar when you draw it. So this is another way of drawing the satin stitch as well. So we can do that. The other thing that we have again, maybe sometimes we need the outline. So you see it's like that. So again, I click on the digital closure and it's on the fill, and anytime you can change it. So if we draw it like that, then we can switch it. That's not a big deal. So I want to draw outline. So this time again, I assume I have 4. I press enter, so it's going to be an outline, and again you can come here and change the outline to whatever. For example, if I want a satin outline, I can go ahead, select that, and then make it satin outline. The other and the last thing I want to say is again let me draw Digitizer close here, and instead of I press enter again because it was on outline, draw outline, so I click on the fill, so it changed. So let me go ahead, select it, and click on the fill, so it changed it to fill. Because what we selected for satin is make it satin, we can make it tatami, or we can make it motif if we want. So in case that we can make it motif, we can come here, select the category from here, and then select the pattern you want from all these patterns that are available, and then it's gonna change it to that pattern that you want. So there are many other things that we can do, but for very basic, these are I think what we are going to use it today. So I'm going to delete them and then zoom to 1 to 1. And so I'm going to focus on that. Before, again, one other thing that before I started is that in Hatch, when we are doing, not in all the digital software is like that, but in Hatch is like that. So if I click here, a digital. So when I click a point, if I click on the left click, it means that the coming section is the straight line. If so, right click, sorry, left click, left click, left click. So anytime I click, it means that the next part is the straight. If I click left click, it means the straight line. And okay, let's click that. So digitize. Also is like that. Left click, left click, left click, left click, left click is all gonna be straight. Now, if I come here and this time do the right click, it means that the coming section is gonna be curved. So left click, sorry, right click, right, right click, right click, right click. So it's gonna draw in here. So the thing is that you always have to think what is coming after the point. So here, if I again want to start, if I know that the next line is the straight line, left. And here, if I know that the next line is the curve, I do the right. And then again, I know then right after that is the straight. So it's gonna be kind of you will get used to that. So you have to think ahead of time. When you practice with that, you will see that. So right click, draw a straight line, left click, draw a curved line when we are doing the drawing. And then of course anytime we draw it, we can and select that object and then go ahead, click on the reshape, and then start playing with those part, and then make it whatever that with any adjustment that we need to do with that. The other thing, remember always time, this green one shows the start, and this cross shows the end. So if we want to switch the start and end, we just bring this here, so automatically the other one goes there. So it's going to be a start, it's going to be the end there. So, okay, so let me delete these and zoom in. So when we want to start to start the digitizing, we have to think about the order it's going to be digitized on the machine. It's going to be sewed or embroidered on the machine. So here what I'm going to do is that I'm going to have the stem part sew first, then the leaves, and then I'm going to have this purple part, and at the last I'm going to have this yellow part. So the very first thing I'm going to draw is going to draw in here. I'm going to draw this part here, the stem part. I'm going to want it to be satin. So I can either do the closed shape and then change it to the satin fill, or I can do it with the Distort Blocks. So I will use this one. So let me zoom in a little bit so I can see that. So because I'm doing this, it's gonna be I'm gonna assign one edge and the edge in front of that. So it's the one edge, the edge in front of that, one edge, edge of that. And I will go a little bit overlap with the leaves, so in case that there are going to be any pull in the fabric. Remember, anytime when we sew something on the machine, there's going to be pulling, and sometimes the edges pull away from each other. So we always need to have some overlap with the edges that touches each other. So in case that they're pulled away during the stitching, there's not going to be a gap between them. So I'm gonna and here again I'm gonna go a little bit over, leave a little bit overlap, so there are not going to be gap between them, and then I'm done, press enter, and then it's done. For the color, so I'm gonna select it, switch it to green color. So now I have it. And if it's satin, and you can, these are the properties. If you go there, we can change ends of the effect or the under or those kind of things. Unless you know exactly what you're doing, you probably don't need to change any of them, at least for the beginning. The next part, I'm gonna do this one, and I think so. Let me go ahead and measure it. I think, yeah, it's about 17-18 millimeter. So it's a little bit wide for the satin, so we're gonna do the fill stitch. So I press escape, and then I click on the digitizing. And let me turn off the true view so I can see where I'm going. So click on the and then I will click on the fill because it's a fill, and I will go ahead, zoom here. I will leave a little bit overlap with the previous one, so I make sure that they have the overlap when I want to start it. So I started from here. Again, I'm up to here. I'm going the straight line. I can go the curve, so I just right click, right click, right click. So there are a straight line. If I want to go curve, so I start to, sorry, left click, left click, left click. If I want to do curve, so I do the right click, right click, right click. Here I want a straight line, and then from here again, left click, 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 zone, click, click, probably will come here. I want to have a little bit overlap here, and then press enter, and then it's done. So you can see there's an overlap between them, and maybe it's a little bit. So I click on the reshape. I move this a little bit here. So yeah, so it's not gonna be too much of overlap. Okay. So as you can see, we have the overlap there. And then I'm gonna select it and change the color to green. And then so it should be green. So let me true view. So that look like that. Now I'm gonna do this one. Again, I'll turn off the, so I can see what I'm doing. Again, click on the digitizing. It's on the fill. I start from here. I leave a little bit overlap, a straight line, and then from here I'm just going to curve. So right click. So I want a straight line, left, 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 and again right, right, right. So I zoom here, right, right, and then here, left, left, and press enter. And then I'm going there, and again select that, and bring it a little bit here. Okay, so I have some overlap there, and choose the color to be green, true view. So that's what I have so far. So these are the green parts. So I know I have to go here for the start to work on this part. So let's go. Again, click on the close digitizing, turn off the true view. Again here, we'll start it from here. So I know that the yellow is going on top of that, so I'm gonna leave a little bit gap here, so some overlap. So I start from here, and then because it's all here, so most of the things I'm gonna do is just right click, right click, right click. I'm just going a little bit faster, so I don't want to do. So look at here. So I'm going to have some, and the last one I left click because I want this one to be a straight line. So and then press enter. So it's gonna create it for me, and then probably I'm gonna select that and choose this color. So I can have that there. So I'm gonna just draw the other. One thing I can do is just I can copy and rotate it and move it. So I can copy these 4 other times and very easily put it here, 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 here. That's one way you can do it. But I'm gonna just draw it. So again, I leave a little bit. I'm gonna um, this one. So I'm going doing it a little bit quick. So if you want to do it, you can sometimes to make sure you get the correct shape and what you need to have. But again, leave a little bit overlap here. And remember, as long as I'm here, I'm drawing. It's still, as long as this highlighted means that I can keep drawing. So right click, right click, right click, right click, right click, and the left click and press enter. And then here again, so right click, left, right, 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 left, enter. And then I'm going to, on the select mode, I select all, hold on the shift, select the first one, hold on shift, select the last one, and change all the color to that color. So let me go to true view. So I have everything there. So then the last thing is left is this yellow. So one thing is that I can again do the digitizing and go around that circle, turn it off, or I can just simply draw a circle here. So I just go ahead and show you here. So I can um, draw a circle like that. That's one way of doing that. The other way is just to go around it and digitize it. So let's try that. So I'm go ahead, try to get the center of that circle, and then press enter, and it's there. So I select it, and then let's make it yellow, and then so now I have everything that I want. So basically everything's there. So I can go there, click on that, and hide it so I don't see it in the background. So now I have it. The other thing is that the next part is that I can go ahead and select each of these and make any changes if I want. For example, here, if I want to change the angle, select that, click on the reshape, and here is the angle. So it's a 15 degrees. So I want to rotate it and put it here, and then select. And then I will select this one again, click here on the reshape, and then select the angle like that to be there, and then select. If I want to change any of the parameters here, when I say also I can come here, change any of the spacing or anything else. So these are a little bit more detailed. I can change it here. Also I can change the stitch angle here, so I can do that. Any of those things I can change it. One thing that the couple of things. So one of them is that just the spacing or density. So basically the spacing, it means that what's the spacing between every row of the stitch. So if you want to be everything is completely filled, so you probably you are good about 0.4 millimeter. If you want that whatever you have to be seen through, so you just keep increasing that number, and then what is the fabric or what is beneath that can be seen through the stitches. The next thing is the pull compensation. If you click on the stitch, and you will see that the pull compensator by default it put it at 0.2. The pull compensation, as explained earlier, is like that when you have the edge, for example here, there's edge between these two. When you're stitching, the fabric might pull away and there might be a gap between these two. So because of that, you usually have some overlap. In case that the fabric is pulled away, there are not going to be a gap there. So sometimes, as you see, when I did the digitizing, I leave some overlap for that purpose. Also, the software will do that for you. So to show that how it works, so for example, let me go to let me hide this. So also let me hide this as well, so you can see better. So here, if I come here, I select this, and then the pull compensation, I just make it 0. So you see, this is the edge of the object, and this white dot, I don't know if you can see the white dot, is the stitch point. So it's going to be stitched right on the edge of the object. But usually this is what we don't want. We want it to be some overlap. So usually we go there, maybe for example I make it 0.4, and look what happened here when I press enter, and see, so this is the edge of the object and this is the stitch point. So we leave some overlap, but basically we extend an object a little bit further so it goes to the adjacent object. So in case that they're going to pull away apart, there's not going to be a gap between them. So that's how it helps to do that. So let me unhide this. The last part that I wanted to talk about it is the jump stitches that we have, and how those jump stitches or trims working. So here, for example, look at these 3 green. I'm gonna click on the player here to see how it's gonna be embroidered in the machine. So as you look at here, see, it will go like that, and then it comes here, and then it do this. So it embroider that, and then it goes from this here there to embroider the other part. So if there is a jump, and I will show you. So here it will let me stop that. So if I zoom in here, if I click on this one and select reshape, you see it ends here. It ends here. If I select this one and click on the reshape, it starts here. So there is a jump. So if I hide this, no, let me. If I hide selected one, so you see there's a jump there, this jump, and it's gonna be over this step. So to prevent that, we can have that jump, or to prevent that, what we can do is that we can run a stitch on the border, because you see it's the border here. I can run the stitch on that border, um, uh, to be sure that there's not going to be a jump there. So what I mean is that I'm gonna just to click on the open digitize, and here I will start from here to here. That's it. I'm pressing it, and then I will just select it and make it single row, and then so yeah, it starts here and it ends there. So what is happening here? So it happens that when this one is finished, it comes here and sew that part, and then start to do that. Now I'm gonna hide this line here. I will show you in a little bit. I'm gonna add the border line or the outline to the shape. So this stick is gonna be hide underneath. So let me just bring that up. Make sure it's between these two. So it's this and then that and then that. So it's stitch that. Let me show you again. So it's end there, and then it start to I click on that. Then it start from here, so up to here, and then it starts from here and it goes up. So there's not going to be any jump here. So, but we need to hide that. So I will show you that later. So let me unhide that. The next thing is that if I come here and let me zoom in again, if you can see it, if you go to the show and if you click on this connector, it will show the jump. If it's off, it doesn't show the jump. So it's off, just turn it on. So let me come here and let me again hide this. So here look at the jump I have. So it, if I click on that, so it ends here, and the next one starts here. So you can see these jump line. I don't know if you can see them or not. So you can see this jump line. It goes from here to here. There's a jump line here to here. There's a jump line here to here. Jump line here to here. One thing that the hatch has it is that I think is in the edit object. If you select everything or select what you want to do, you can apply the close point. So it tries to get to connect two objects through the closest point, and this is exactly what it did here. But the problem is that it's going to be shown through the object. So this is not what we want. So what we're going to do is that I will select this one, and I will go there, and then I will click on the reshape. I will say, okay, I want this to be finished here. Then I want to say that the next one I want to start here. So look at the jump. The jump now is going from here to here. Why I did that? So let me go on. Why I did that? Because look at here. If I unhide this, oops. Yeah, sorry. So if I unhide that, so if I don't know if you can see it here or not. So look at, this is the jump, and then it's going to be covered by this yellow part. So the jump is going to be hidden back. It's going to be hidden there. So it's going to be, the jump is going to be hidden beneath that. So I'm going to repeat that again. So let me hide that again. So select this one again, reshape. So now I want it to finish here, and then this one I want it to start here. again, I want it to be finished here. This one I wanted to start here, and I want it to be finished here. And this one again, I want it doesn't matter where it finished, but it matters when it starts. I want it to start here and finish there. So now if I click on that, it go there, you see all the jumps is going to be underneath of that yellow yellow part. So everything is going to be underneath of that. And it hide. So it's going to be underneath of that. So let me hide that again. So yeah, so it's going to be underneath. So in most cases, sometimes if you see all this stitch, all the jump is beneath that, and you're okay with that, that's fine. So you can leave all the jump there, and then you have this yellow part on top of that. But sometimes you don't want to have a jump at all. So if you don't want to have a jump, you are gonna have the running stitch between each of these 2 points. And how to do that? Again, go ahead, click on the digitize part, digitize open shape, and click on the running stitch to see what we want. And then we are gonna have the running stitch going from here to here, and press enter. And then I'm gonna make sure, so I'm just select that and move it here. Then for the second part, again, I'm gonna click on the open digitize, going from here to here, press enter. Again, select that, move it up here, and then do the same thing from here to here, and move it up here, and then from here to here, enter, and move it up here. And for some reason it make them all green, so I just select, hold down the control key and click on them, so you can select them and make them all purple. So now you don't have any jump, so everything is gonna go smoothly through there. And let me unhide this as well. So this is what we have. The next things I want to do is just I'm gonna add the outline, the very last thing, to this shape. So I'm gonna click on the digitize open shape, and I move there, and I start to add. I'm not gonna be very careful, but you may spend more time. So I just want to draw that so you see what happens. So I would add the, again, I'm just going a little bit fast to save the time, but you can go slow to make sure there's no gap between the outline you have. And remember this part, I'm gonna go there and hide that stitch beneath that. Yeah, it's not gonna be seen because it's at the border, but it's still that stitch that I connect these two leaves together. I'm gonna hide it beneath this. Zoom in and press enter, and then select that and change the color to black, and then change it to back stitch probably, and then you have this outline here. So let me go through you so you have the outline, so you can zoom in and then go if there's any gap there, just select select it, reshape and zoom in, and if there is any gap you can just play with these nodes to fix it if there's. And I'm gonna add an outline to this yellow part, just show you another way of doing that. So another way is that I come here, click on that, I duplicate it, so it's gonna just create create another one. So it will duplicate. I'm gonna make it black, and then you see it's the fill. I'm gonna make it outline, so click on that, so it's gonna be outline. And I don't know, we can make it for a problem, satin outline, as just we can, for example, make it 2, 2, so we can have that outline there as well. So after we have it, so it's there, we can go ahead and again run it to see how it's gonna sew, and everything is just, we think everything is okay. We can go ahead and save it or export it to the design format the machine needs it. So I think that's it. I just wanted to go through the very basics of that. There are many other things or many other configuration you can do. Before I just go out, again, it says that all the color I use here is the ISO code. So if I want to change the color to what I have, I just can come here, because mine is, I think I chose mine is Madeira. So I can come here, click, and is match all the color I chose to Madeira thread, and then you have your color also is in the thread brand that you want. Couple of more points before I finish. One other thing that I want to mention is that if we draw something, as you know, sometimes said if I click the left click is gonna draw the straight line, and if I right click is gonna do the curve line. Anyway, when I finish drawing, if I do any changes, I can select the shape, and then do editing. So let me do it one more time. So if it's not there, I can go there, click reshape. If I want to add the point, I can do either the right click or left click to add the point. So for example, here I can add another straight point here. I just left click it and I can work with that. And here, assume I want to add the corner point, so I right click, so I have it there. It's gonna be there. If I already have a point I want to change it, for example, here is the corner point, I want to change it to sorry, it's the curve point, I want to change it to a straight line. Just select it and press the spacebar, so it changes it to the straight line, spacebar changing to corner point. So that's I want to say. And if I want to delete it, just press delete and it will delete. And we delete the whole thing. So this is one thing, and the very last thing I want to talk about is the tie in and tie off. So if you select any object and you go, I think, to the stitches here, you go all the way down, you will see that you have the the connection option. So it's the tie in and tie off. So basically it's saying that what you want to do if you have a loose end of the thread, and you always want to tie the loose end of the thread, and when you have it at the beginning of any color, at the end of any color, if you have any separate object, if you have a trim, so you have a tie in, tie off. So here, for example, here we start the green color from here in this object. So I always want to have a tie-in at the beginning, so because it's the start of my color, I know it's a loose end. Then in this one, so go on that and then do this one. So because this one at both ends there's no trim, it's just connected to the previous one, connected to the next one, so we don't need it can just keep it the way it is. And here again, this is the end of the green color, so want to make sure that at the end of the color we always have the tie off, so it's gonna be tie off there. Usually it if you leave it on, it's gonna be okay, but you can just make sure it's off. The same here, for example, for the purple one, we know how the first one is the first of the color, then they're all connected, and the last, so we want to tie in at the first one, make sure it's on, always on, and we want to turn tie off at the very last one is on as well. Um, for the green, because it's the only one, so we want to make sure that's always on for beginning and end. I'm not going to do it, I'll just explain it. For the black one, again the same, because these are two separate objects, are not connected to each other, although they are the same color. We want the tie in and tie off for both of them at the beginning and end. So make sure that we don't have any loose end of the thread. If anytime you couldn't figure out that you need it or you don't need it, it's always better to have it rather than not have it, and having a loose end of the thread that cause the sewing get open. So this is, I think this is it. This is the basics of digitizing with the hack. There are many more options there that you can play with, but I think this video can help you to start manually digitizing at least for in a basic level. I hope it helps.